Hi guys, and welcome to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Drayton Park Golf Club. I'm in my swing studio and today's video is all going to be about the release. And what I'm going to be trying to stop is this finish position or exit position where the player's head is down, the chest is under rotated, and often what we see is this chicken wing with the lead elbow where it starts to work up and out away from the body. So we start to see more of this finish position, and I'm a firm believer it's linked to head, a head movement. So what I hear far too often, every beginner golfer I ever teach seems to have picked up a little bit of advice from another amateur golfer who tells them that they're topping shots, they've got to keep their head down or keep their eye on the ball, and they end up with some kind of release that looks like this. And I meet a lot of golfers who've been playing for 20, 30, 40 years who've still got that thought in their head. They're trying to watch the ball or keep their eye on the ball. You will never see the club strike the golf ball with a full shot. They're over too quickly. The ball is released from the club face. So we're trying to keep our head in roughly the same position it was before, but actually I quite like to see the player's eyes starting to track almost where the club and the ball are going to be going, because it really allows that player to start to rotate a lot better. As I said, one of the big faults I see is a finish position, something more like this, where you can see my lead arm is a lot higher than my trail arm, my elbow is bent. Now, I mean, Jordan Spieth, yes, famously has this bent elbow through impact, but he definitely rotates. He rotates very, very well. Whereas with a lot of amateur golfers, we see something more like this, where, you know, at impact, the shoulders and the hips are about back to where they started. With powerful hitters, we see the shoulders 10 to 20 degrees open and the hips 45 and maybe even more so on real hard hitters. The more we can start to rotate our body, the better. But as I rotate, I'm very restricted if I focus on keeping my head down and my chin is touching my chest. I've got no real room. So I'm going to give you a really simple exercise that you're actually going to start with a wedge and build upwards. So what I want you to do is place a tee peg, it could be anything, some kind of marker, a few feet. So I've got it about 3 foot there, maybe up to 4 foot ahead of the golf ball on my target line. And I'm just going to be hitting little half swings with my gap wedge, and I'm going to be trying to, on the downswing, not on the backswing, so normal backswing, but on the downswing, I'm going to be trying to let my head rotate towards the tee peg. I could even, in fact, instead of on the target line, if I move it, just having a little think, if I move it slightly inwards, that head rotation just might allow my shoulders to start to turn open even a little bit more. I don't really mind the focus points. I've put the tee peg there. Whether you want to focus on something even further ahead of you, that's fine. I just don't want it to be down at the golf ball. So I'm going to be making little half swings, but just trying to get the feeling that as I start down, my head is starting to turn towards the target, and that really allows me to rotate and get my body turning so I get this correct release position. I'm just going to go ahead and hit a couple of little gap wedges doing that. Little half swings, and then I'm going to do a half swing with a 7-iron before putting it into a full swing. So let's give it a whirl, a little half shot. Good. I think I can strike it a little bit cleaner than that, but I definitely was looking towards the target or towards my tee peg before I hit the golf ball, and that really allowed me to keep rotating. I find people think they're going to really miss it from here. Your first couple, if you've never done this before, might be a little bit thin as you're a bit tight and a bit anxious, but don't worry about that. Just try and stay normal, little half swing. That was a better strike, but I'm really allowing my head to turn towards the target before I've even struck the ball, and that really gives me unrestricted rotation on the way through. So I'm going to build that from my gap wedge now just into a half swing with a 7-iron before I go into a full shot. So let's try a couple more. Let's change to a 7. So I'll record these in a red line instead. I'm going to again go for more of a half swing, and then I'm going to build it into a fuller shot. But on the downswing, allow my head to rotate. That allows my shoulders to open, my hips to open, and my arms will exit more to the left for me as a right-handed golfer, and you'll see this more extension in my lead arm rather than this chicken wing on the way through that we see far too often. Right, let's go for a little half one first. Might hit the line. There we go. So you can see it's had no effect on my accuracy or strike. I know it was only a little half swing. It's gone 123, but it was 0 yards off target. It was straight as a die. So I'm going to try and put that into a fuller shot. There are plenty of elite golfers, you know, Henrik Stenson, Annika Sorensen, David Duval. There's a lot of elite golfers, their heads turning towards the target before they ever hit it. So don't get too caught up on this head down. I'm going to try and hit a full shot, and again turning my head towards the target sooner or towards that tee peg. The strike was absolutely perfect. I did hit a bit too much cut, but you can see, you know, for a 7-iron, I've still got pretty good distance out of it, so we know the strike was decent. Flew 160, finished 170 with bounce and roll. But it felt, yeah, mid-centre, so it was a great strike. I just left the club face a couple of degrees open, but it felt really solid. And I really got that thought of allowing my head to start to rotate. I know it's going to improve your release position if you're someone at impact that looks a little bit more like this or feels very restricted. Once you've done a little bit of it, you'll start to get the feeling of a bit of freedom almost through impacting into the release, and it's a great sensation to get. It's a much more powerful move as well if we can start to use your body. If you did enjoy the content of that video, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel as well for free. There's new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 5:30. And check us out on all our social media platforms for lots of other TruGolf activity. Thanks guys, we'll see you soon.